wider than I used to be, okay?
Well, more space. Good morning, friends.
Good morning.
Sorry about that. Just, I'm claustrophobic over here. A little bigger than I used to be, so it is what it is. Well, I don't know that my husband would say that, the heat we've had, but anyway, thank you for inviting me back. It's been interesting. The last couple weeks, Spirit has chosen not to work with me. I think that's interesting. I'm not allowed to channel anymore, and I'm sure it has everything to do with my pregnancy and nothing to do with me.
And Charity, you can't do readings for anyone that's pregnant.
Yeah, I can't, it's true, I can't do any readings I can't do any readings period at the moment. I haven't been able to for about a week and a half, which is interesting because that's my business, that's my line of work. But all the way along in pregnancy, I've not been able to read for other pregnant women. Interesting stuff. Anyway, so when I sat down to write my lecture over the past week, I got blocked and I got blocked and I got blocked, and then yesterday morning at 4:30 the baby woke me up, because they do that sometimes, and I went downstairs and Spirit started directing me to my library, and Spirit showed me different books and different quotes. So I'm going to give you what Spirit gave to me, although they are not my words. It's apparently what we need to talk about today, because that's what I was given. Anyway, so here we go. The title of this inspirational talk is called Gossip, Judgment, and the Law of Compassion. The poet Rumi once wrote, "Out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about." The definition of gossip: a person who habitually reveals personal or sensational facts about others, or a rumor or report of an intimate nature. The definition of judgment: a formal utterance of an authoritative opinion, or the process of forming an opinion or evaluation by discerning and comparing. The definition of compassion: sympathetic consciousness of others' distress, together with a desire to alleviate it. Lately I have heard, or should I say tried not to hear, a lot of gossip. I keep reminding myself of the old adage, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And it is so true. As humans, we all struggle with this. Some of the most spiritual people I know are still struggling with this, because we're human. How do you know what to believe and what not to believe? What it really comes down to is, who are we to judge? The last time I checked, even God loved me unconditionally. He allowed me to make my own path, live my own lessons, and make my own mistakes. It is not good when others hurt us or the people that we love. But being a true spiritualist, we look at our 7 principles and remember the last 3 principles in particular: personal responsibility, compensation and retribution here and hereafter for all the good and evil deeds done here on earth. And the last, eternal progress open to every human soul that wills to tread it by the path of eternal good. In my private practice, I counsel a lot of people. Most times we get hung up on what others think of us. One of my favorite books to suggest that they read is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This is it here if anyone wants to look at it after. He has a wonderful way of explaining how to look at this subject. Gossip is black magic at its very worst, because it is pure poison. We learned how to gossip by agreement. When we were children, we heard adults around us gossiping all the time, openly giving their opinions about other people. They even had opinions about people they didn't even know. Gossip has become the main form of communication in human society. It has become the way we feel close to each other, because it makes us feel better to see someone else feeling as badly as we do. Using the analogy of the human mind as a computer, gossip can be compared to a computer virus. A computer virus is a piece of computer language written in the same language as all the other codes, but with harmful intent. This code is inserted into the program of your computer when you least expect it, and most of the time without your awareness. After this code has been introduced, your computer doesn't work quite right, or it doesn't function at all, because the codes get so mixed up with so many conflicting messages that it stops producing good results. Human gossip works the same way. For example, you find out about a new group or class with new friends and new teachers. You're very excited and have been looking forward to this new group for a long time. On the first day of the class, you run into someone who took the class before, who tells you, "Oh, that teacher, what a pompous jerk. He didn't know what he was talking about and was a complete idiot, so watch out." Now you are immediately imprinted with the word and the emotional code that that person had when saying this. But what you are not aware of is his or her motivation in telling it to you. The person could be angry for failing the class or simply making an assumption based on fears or prejudices. But because you've learned to ingest the information like a child, some part of you believes the gossip and you go on to the class. The teacher speaks and you feel the poison come up inside you, and you don't realize you're seeing the teacher through the eyes of the person who gave you that gossip. Then you start talking to other people in the class about this, and they see the teacher in the same way and say, "He's a jerk and an idiot." You end up really hating the class, and soon you decide to drop out. You blame the teacher, but really it's the gossip that needs to be blamed. One little piece of information can break down communication between people, causing every person it touches to become infected and contagious to others. Imagine every single time others gossip to you, they insert a computer virus into your mind, causing you to think a little less clearly every time. Then imagine in that effort to clean up your own confusion and get some relief from the poison, you gossip and spread these viruses to someone else too. We are all children in the eyes of God. We are all learning, so who are we to say something negative or positive about another? Your opinion is simply that, your belief about something or someone. We are not right or wrong. We could never understand the full story or know what had led that person to being or acting in a certain way. We are not to judge another, for whatever led them to do the things that they have done may prove the same outcome for us. Judgment is a human invention, that God is not here to judge us, but to provide us with the means to learn from our errors so that we can grow and evolve. The key to dissipating gossip is compassion. The law of compassion is very powerful. It can destroy or empower others. In the book, The Laws of Spirit by Dan Millman, I have that one here too, he shares these thoughts about compassion. Hang on just a second. The law of compassion is not arbitrary or conditional. We know deeply troubled and destructive people exist in this world, and that disturbed people tend to disturb others. Compassion doesn't mean letting such people walk over you and continue their destructive behavior. Some individuals need to be separated from society, but one can have compassion for evil without succumbing to it. In the battle, you can feel compassion toward your adversaries, even when fighting to the death. The law of compassion directs you to act out of love and understanding instead of hatred and ignorance. To do so requires a leap to a larger perspective, the realization that you live in a universe as just as it is mysterious. This depth of understanding flows from an understanding that we are all one. When you find this understanding, you realize you do not have friends, you do not have enemies. All you really have is teachers. The law of compassion reminds us that it is better to let compassion wash away negative thoughts with love and understanding than it is to believe or resist them. He goes on to make the comment, when you hear something negative of another, think about what you would feel if that person had died. Say you are in a heated argument with someone and all of a sudden they clutch their chest, utter a small cry, and fall dead at your feet. Where would your anger and resentment be at that moment? Death is a great equalizer. It can help us change our perspective in a matter of mere moments. One of the most published spiritual leaders of our past was a man by the name of H. Gordon Burroughs. He wrote many books, one called Becoming a Spiritualist. This is a great book, by the way. In the book, he writes, spiritualists who really wish to learn to lead a spiritual life must strive at all times to see and think only of higher and more beautiful things than he sees around and about him. He must never permit his thoughts to dwell upon lower things in life, and must close the door tightly upon such emotions as jealousy, lewdness, and vulgarity. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And the thoughts of today become the acts of tomorrow. He realizes by keeping his thoughts upon only the highest things, he becomes possessed of a pure heart. That by developing every talent, he is quickening his spiritual perceptions, which can only produce better conditions for all, as he leaves an influence for good with all whom he comes in contact, which can have no other result than bringing the human race nearer to perfection. The true spiritualist must learn the meaning of prayer in the truest sense of the word. He must, in the innermost depths of his heart, in silence and all sincerity, pray with the Master who taught us to say, may we not criticize, condemn, or censure one act of any human being, but project almighty love, for they, like ourselves, are the children of the same Father, seeking to find him according to the light that they have now. The real spiritualist will, at times, place the welfare of the cause he represents and the church to which he belongs before his own personal feelings. He realizes in that cooperation there is strength, and he will make every effort to cement together as strongly as possible all the branches of the organization to which he belongs, even though he does not always agree with the personal opinions of some of the other members. He does not allow his personal likes or dislikes to bias his opinions in any way. He is ever ready to lend a helping hand to those who are working to build a cause that will bring humanity closer in touch with the Father and thus bring happiness to the world. In closing, I'd like to leave you with the story of a Catholic priest who made calls regularly in the home of a young widow. Someone started passing a rumor. Some busybody became suspicious. Two ladies in the community put two and two together and began to gossip. Suddenly, the young widow had passed away, and the community was informed that she had secretly been sick with cancer. Only her priest knew about it. He came regularly to pray for her and to help her. But someone with a dirty mind had started talking. The two ladies who were responsible for the gossip came to the priest and said, "Father, we are truly sorry. Why didn't you tell us?" The priest answered, "All right, if you're sorry, take this feather pillow to the top of the hill and let the feathers fly where the wind will carry them." And so they did. And when they came back with their empty pillowcase, they said, "Father, we have done this. Now will you forgive us?" The priest answered, not until you go out and pick up every feather and put them all back in the sack and bring it back to me. And they said, but Father, that is impossible. The wind has blown the feathers to the four corners of the world. To which he replied, so it is with your words. Thank you very much for allowing me to share.